Well, good afternoon, everyone. Again, we've got another great Biz 501 masterclass discussion. Today's conversation is with Wayne Bergman. He is the founder of Consistent Business Growth. He's a business coach, and there's so much, Wayne, just in the preliminaries that we were talking before this clip started. When it comes to business owners, because I exactly went through all of this stuff that we're about ready to talk about when I own my own business, getting ready to sell it, all of that stuff. So we're going to actually break this up into a couple of different episodes. But real quick, Wayne, welcome to the Zoom call. Tell us just a little bit about your background and who you are before we dive right in.
All right. Thanks, Todd. So I've actually, I'm finishing my 19th year as a business coach. I started this business, coming out of corporate. Um, I did international sales. Prior to corporate, I was in the military. Um, so the coaching experience has been one that, I think is, um, valuable to me and interesting to me in helping clients work through some of the challenges that they may be facing in their business. Um, I did initially sign up with, it's in my profile, but I did originally sign up with a coaching franchise, and that lasted the first 10 years. But ever since then, I've been on my own. Um, that was all a good experience. There was a lot of good learning, especially coming out of the corporate world. Um, I did work with small businesses while in corporate. That was a blast because you're dealing with um, the owner's money.
Yeah.
It was their life, their family, their team. It was completely different than working with some of the larger um, publicly traded companies that we sold to. So I've learned a lot from my clients, and I've got some great friendships with some of my clients. But
Yeah. Yeah.
based on the topic that you and I discussed, um, there's also a broad spectrum of how people um, look at how they're building their business and to what end.
Yeah.
Um, how are they? What are they doing? Uh, right or wrong, good or bad, whatever, to achieve the goals that they have when they when they walk away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Great.
they're all over the place, and you know the some are, yes, just like anything, some are doing it better than others, and um, but they all have their own individual goals, and that's the
Yeah.
interesting part of being a coach.
Absolutely. And that's kind of the reason we're doing all of this series of calls that we're recording, because every business owner that I know wants to do business a little bit better than before. So let's dive right in because again, we're trying to make these calls enough information, but
Mhm.
then also realize everybody's time is valuable too.
Yep.
So the first thing, Wayne, that we'll talk about today, and this will be our main subject, is uh, when it comes to a business owner, I think the question that is important to ask is, what do you want to do after you sell your business? Talk,
Hmm.
talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, I think, isn't it Mr. Covey that says begin with the end in mind? You know,
Right?
and I, I, again, my experience over the last 20 years has been that um, some of us, not just business owners, some of us do a better job of that than others. So the having the conversation, whether it's a financial advisor or a business coach, I think um, that's a valuable question to start out, because that drives the decisions we're going to make in the next 3 to 5 years, the next 5 to 10 years. So
Absolutely.
the thing I like to know from clients is what what do they intend to do, and I'm assuming, family or non-family doesn't matter. What do they intend to do when they decide to walk away from the business?
Yeah.
And walk away is in quotes, because walk away could, like I said, walk away could be, one definition could be I'm 100% out of the business. I've sold it
Yep.
and I am done. That's one definition.
Yep.
Um, the other definition of walk away could be I'm going to sell it to my kids or my family members, but I'm gonna stick around and mentor. Okay, great. That could be a walk away. The other walk away is I'm going to sell it to my employees. Again, that could be a clean deal,
Sure.
or I could hang around and again have a service contract or agreement to mentor the new leadership team if I'm invited.
Sure.
And the other walk away is to sell it to a third party and again accept a transition service agreement or contract.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and there's other options.
Yeah.
But generally, what do you define as the end? So that's what I think people have to. Each individual owner has to decide what does that look like and when
Yeah.
should it happen.
Yeah. And I'll delve a little bit into that, Wayne, on a personal level. That's exactly what I was confronted with. I had started a business, and I had never thought about there's a period of time that I'm going to sell the business. I had already always heard of it, but all of a sudden an opportunity presented itself,
Mhm.
and because I wasn't ready, what I did is I took one of those options and I sold to a third party, and then took a service contract with them. In my thinking, that was the worst mistake that I made, because now you're handing your baby over to somebody else, and then they started making decisions with clients and some of that
Not
in
non-family. It was
not
non-family.
non-family. Yeah,
Okay.
it was third party,
Yep.
and it just didn't turn out well. And so there is that importance that. So what do you, let me ask you this, of those 4 or 5 different options, do you as a business coach favor one over another as far as an option?
No, because what I work on is what the client goals are.
Okay.
If the if the if the client has, let's say the client has no family members and has no or has no family members or has family members that are not interested in the business, um,
Right. I hear that a lot.
that that impacts what the goal is. So I want to turn it over to my kids, but the kids don't want it. Okay, well, let's have a conversation about that goal. Or, I'd like to sell it to my employee. My first choice would be to sell it to my employees. Well, just like with the kids, none of my employees have the resources, um, have the interest. They're not interested. So
Yeah.
all of the reason I bring those up is that drives the conversation of, okay, what are we going to do now? In and the conversation around building the value of the business to me then comes into play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Say, okay, if i'm
Absolutely.
if I'm gonna sell it to my kids, I'm gonna have a different way of building or I'm gonna have a different view of building the value of my business because I don't want to burden my kids with a high entry cost, as an example.
Sure.
If I'm selling to a third party, then we're going to build the value to extract as much out of the transaction at the end.
Yep.
Does that
Yep.
that and then the money goes to you guys.
Absolutely. Yeah. No.
That,
And
so it
and
depends on that. The answer, Todd, depends on what is the client presenting to you and
sure.
I or me
Mhm.
as to what they want to accomplish.
Yep. Well, and that is such a key. Obviously, as a financial advisor, you got to know the goal before you
Mm-hmm.
start saying, "Oh, well, I got this stock or that mutual fund or whatever."
Mm-hmm.
So, Wayne, great conversation already. As I mentioned, this is going to lead into another call, and the question that we want to talk about then is, are we going to have the resources necessary for after you sell the business, and that is another huge part of the conversation that we want to have. But Wayne, thanks so much for joining us today. I look forward to these next few calls that we'll have, and getting the information out there, because it really is extremely valuable. And I wish I would have had some of this when I was selling my business. So thank you.
Well, thanks for the opportunity, Todd, and I look forward to the next couple of conversations that follow on today.
Absolutely. All right. See you soon.
All right, thank you.